Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. This is a cool episode because, again, it follows along with the theme like we've done, and I think I didn't mention it in this episode, but it follows along with the theme that has kind of been coming through lately, and that's really documenting the journey of detailers like you who are listening and kind of their journey and where they've started and where they've gotten to. And that's exactly what this episode is a little snapshot of a guy that just started out as a listener and now he's running a really successful detailing business, and it's only the beginning. So hope you guys enjoy this episode, and really what I hope is you guys are encouraged through the episode to either step out finally and go full-time, or really take the part-time side hustle a little more serious, or if you've been doing it for a while and you've been in the game 20, 30, 40 years, whatever, that you're encouraged to just keep going and maybe even re-energized. How about that word? Re-energized a little bit by a new guy coming up in the game, because I know it encourages me, and I know we all go through those up and down lulls, so it's encouraging to hear from people that are really getting after it. So that's what this episode is. Hope you guys enjoy.
All right. Welcome to this episode then of the Auto Detailing Podcast. I'm super excited because I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but that's usually always the best episodes. And my guest today is Brendan Kernan. He owns iDetail NC, which is North Carolina. So, Brendan, thank you for coming on the show. I'm super excited to have you on. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Jimbo. Long-time listener, big fan.
Awesome.
Yeah, always
awesome.
Got a lot of my education right here on the podcast.
Cool. And looking back through our Facebook interactions, it looks like the first time we interacted was February of 2017. So we've been kind of chopping it up over Facebook Messenger for the past year or so. But I'm excited to kind of hear, your journey about detailing and kind of where you're at in that journey. So why don't you take it away? I'll hand it over to you and tell me about iDetail NC, and tell me about you, how you got into detailing and all the fun stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, iDetail NC is my detailing company based here in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's about an hour north of the border. And it's a real low quantity, high quality type shop operation we got going. We do a little mobile work, but mainly we have everyone come through the shop and leave their car for 4 to 6 hours, 48 hours, whatever's needed. I've actually just gone full time here in the last 6 months.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. I really wasn't expecting to get the opportunity to jump into it so quickly. I'd been working on the weekends here part-time, just for friends here and there, detail. While I had my full-time job, I was the marketing director here in the area for a sub shop. And the opportunity came in October to make the jump. And I've really been rolling with it. It's been a common theme of everything happens for a reason. I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee, took it to a shop, got fully maintained and maintenance, and I end up losing the wheel the day I pick it up at like 80 miles an hour.
Oh no!
That led to my current car. A month into owning that, it got keyed from front to back, and that ended up a year or two later funding startup.
Wow.
So my car got damaged, but I ended up getting everything in place for this to take off. And
so did you have a shop before you actually went full time then?
No. I worked out of my apartment just in the parking lot and a lot of mobile. And
Okay.
my mother-in-law's parking lot as well. She had a
Okay.
water access I can run through there.
Got it. So then
So
when all these events started to happen, it kind of the path was leading you to, or the path led you to kind of opening the shop. Because I guess in North Carolina you're dealing with a little bit more weather than I am out here in Southern California. So having that shop
yeah,
is probably super convenient.
definitely. I actually got the I had an engagement planned the same week I got laid off after being with the company for almost 3 years, and moving into this place. So it was all just rolling with it. I'm still just rolling with it, trying to grow and scale the operation. But
So
it's really,
I think how did you? I want to know how you kind of got into detailing, and then also, what the reason why I wanted to have you on is where you're at right now and kind of this transitional period, but like a fresh transitional period into a full-time shop and full-time detailing is a position that a lot of detailers are aspiring to get to, right? So
oh yeah.
or in the middle of. And so I love, a lot of the past episodes, whether that be Travis or Billy or whatever, have dealt with them at the moments of transition in their life. And the reason for talking about it isn't to, claim to be an expert in whatever that transition is rather to document how it's going, and actually just before we recorded this episode today, I was recording another episode that'll go live actually a week before ours does right now, but with Paul Frasco, and Paul we talked about not old school marketing, but he rents out billboards and traditional marketing. There's the word I was looking for. More traditional marketing, and he even said, he's like, well, I don't claim that I'm a master at this or really even know it that well. And I'm like, that's actually better. Like, I just want to hear I want to hear, and I want other people to hear of like what you're messing with, what you're playing with, what's working, what's not working, because through the journey is how we all learn. Not claiming that we're the best at it. It's just what's working. And that's what I love about this podcast and having people from all over the world is what, like Paul's in Massachusetts, Connecticut border. You're in North Carolina. I'm in California. Travis was in Texas. Billy's in Kentucky. Like, Florida, like all over the country, Australia, New Zealand, all over the world and all over Canada. It's like all these perspectives, that people can listen to over the course of weeks and months and years really lead to, hopefully developing well-rounded detailers, or at least a well-rounded platform for people to listen and then create their own journey.
Definitely.
That's a long-winded. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I've never seen an industry like this. At whatever level you are, from a weekend detailer, if you want to learn how to clean your car the best. Guys like Billy, there's so many guys out there. Yourself. I mean, I remember being in Home Depot, getting my first pressure washer, messaging you and another guy.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Everyone is so supportive.
I remember that. Not necessarily you specifically, but I remember that interaction. That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I started off with I think I got a pressure washer for $20. I had a buddy working at a restore, and it's just do some cars, upgrade your equipment.
Yep.
And I'm still, I mean, don't go buying every polish you can, but
right.
Find what works, stick to it.
So what are some
JimboDaily.com.
Yeah. There we go. Not afraid of the shameless plug, so thank you for that one. So what have been some of the challenges that you've come across? Obviously, there's probably a financial challenge and burden, but what are some challenges that you've come across with opening the shop? It sounds like you have a marketing background, so I'd be interested in kind of pulling into that too if you want. But what have been either the challenges or successes, that have really helped in this little journey while starting the shop?
Yeah. I'd have to say, I learned some lessons quickly on scaling, getting coworkers or employees trained up, and it is. I didn't expect my wife to take such a liking to detailing, but when we just
Interesting.
recently found out she was pregnant in February.
Congratulations.
So
First one?
thank you. This will be our second. We have
Okay.
a
Nice.
5-year-old as well.
Oh, fun. All right.
Oh yeah. So I spent about a month or two trying to find someone to kind of fill her shoes, but that was a lesson I learned quickly to keep the quality up. You don't want to
And
put
don't,
just anyone out there representing your brand.
right.
And then with operating, because I went from spending 6 hours, 6, 8, 10 hours detailing a car meticulously when there's no one waiting for it. But it's a bit different when time is money, you find out. So
What are some systems then that you've changed to speed up the process of detailing a car while maintaining the quality?
I learned, I heard a tip from, who is it? Avon, I believe is his name, with Optimum.
Yep.
And just like having multiple buckets to wash your car on, one for each side. I just recently, in the last month, put a whole nother shelf on the other side of the shop. So just having every chemical, a lot less walking back and forth.
Yep. That's such a good tip because you don't realize that, right? Like how much time is actually wasted in, and I think when Yvonne was on this podcast a while back, he talked about that, like having, like, there's so much time wasted not only in walking back and forth, but also in properly diluting each bottle. So if you have that done, it's like you can save so much freaking time.
Keep knocking it out. No,
right.
No need to stop and have to mix chemicals in the middle of something.
Right.
But with what's worked for me, I was actually really a little taken back with how successful Craigslist has been for me.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I've gotten a few clients off of there, and they're some of my best clients now. And
Wow.
The first time they had me detail his Maserati, and in his email, he said, if you don't know how to operate a buffer, don't bother replying. But we've come a long way since then.
Right. That's nerve-wracking.
He's a great guy. Yeah. So that and the Facebook marketing place. I've done a few paid ads. Fiverr.com is the best bang for your buck if you don't want to create the content yourself.
Right.
But, before and after pictures have been huge. It's very ironic throughout this journey. Little moments have happened where I just look back and laugh because my now wife was not my wife at the time. When I was trying to win over her heart, I said, "Let me clean your car. It's extremely dirty." And
oh no!
After 3 months of that fight, I got that done, and I posted the picture. And it got picked up by, I think, like Detailers Unite or something, got like over 1,300, 1,400 likes.
Okay.
And I started to think, wow, okay, maybe there is something to this besides just me having fun.
Right.
And so, YouTube, your podcast, I've probably listened to every single one. Well, I know I have.
Wow.
But you have specific episodes, I know, from laid off to booked out a month for that gentleman you had a few months ago. So many stories where I've heard, I was like, wow, I'd love to be that fortunate. And yeah, the opportunity did come. And
so now you've gone from being a listener and hoping that it'll be your reality to now it's becoming your reality.
Yeah.
So what do you attribute that to, though? Do you attribute it to kind of, learning and then implementing? Do you attribute it to, what do you attribute it to?
definitely learning, and every day I try and learn. I get I'll be up late at night watching YouTube videos still, being told to get off the computer. It's like get some sleep. But that's all it was. I really had a whole month where I had so much time, and I caught myself up till 2 or 3 a.m. and I'm taking notes. Yourself, Darren Priest, Billy Vargas, Travis McNutt, everyone. There's such good content out there, and you just gotta know what to do, and go back into your tools and handle it, and always just try and over deliver. It's been working pretty well. I run a referral program that's been pretty good. It's all about promotions and stay current, stay in the eyes of the consumer.
What does your referral program consist of, or how do you have that structured?
So and I really generally only have one base package I sell at a sedan or an SUV truck. So once they get a full detail, if they refer me a friend or client that gets the same thing, their next detail will be 50% off, and that's due to change here soon.
Okay. But it's work because you're already and what I like about that is I think people say, "Oh my gosh, half off their next detail." Is that on the same vehicle, or can it be a different vehicle?
Yeah, it can be a different vehicle.
Oh,
and
okay.
I get that a lot. Husbands and wives and family members, or
But I think I think
it goes
something.
both ways.
I guess it could go both ways, right? And I think what people, I talk a lot about free work, right? And it's not a long-term strategy. It's just when you're trying to get the name out there, right? Which is probably why you said that's about to change, because you've done it. It's gotten so much work to where you're like, okay, now I can restructure, right? It was probably never a long-term play to be giving half off your services, right? But it got your name out there. It got you recognition. It got people to trust you with their cars, to bring them in to see what you're all about, right? And you probably took some big hits and got some cars that you offered half off that you're like, man, even at full price, this wasn't worth it. I'm sure. But you got cars in the door, right? And I think that's what people forget is like, you got to get cars in the door. You got to get those interactions with customers. And when you're just starting out, you got to do, or you're slow, right? You got to do whatever you got to do to get those cars in the door. And sometimes that's half off. But is that what happened? Because that's actually a cool idea for a referral program. Is that, have you gotten so busy from that you're having to restructure that deal?
No, that's probably not. Say that's maybe 20% of my clientele.
Okay.
Not too much. Really, I think the Facebook advertisements have been the big ringer.
Okay.
And I mean, the free ones you put on the marketplace, and then you can share them to 10 other groups, and they show you the size, and that's just so many eyes on your
not
before
necessarily
and after pictures.
Okay. So not necessarily a Facebook ad, but a Facebook post in the marketplace, or is it an ad?
Yes, I've probably gotten more return off Facebook marketplace ads than paid advertisements.
Marketplace ads. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And the before and after pictures really help.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and you just got to sell the value.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I did a free detail, and that was 8 or 9 hours in the hot sun, and I just knew her vehicle was disgusting, so it would make a great before and after. And so that's just
interesting.
Advertising.
So actually willing to do a free detail on a potentially worst case scenario car, just to be able to use the pictures to market yourself to get more work potentially.
Oh yeah.
Imagine that.
And I've contemplated running a small promotion here in Wilmington where I want someone to tag a friend of theirs who has the search for the grossest car. They're going to get a free detail. Anything, I don't mind.
It's out of the box. It's different.
Yeah. You got to make some noise.
I mean, and really what you could even do if you wanted to was, I mean, you could you could even sub it out, right? Like get the worst detail ever if you didn't want to do it, or have employees do it, right? Like you could do it just as a strategy to capture the before and after photos. I guess that that skirts that gray line if you decided to do that, but you could get help with it. I guess that's the point I was trying to make.
Car.
Yeah, right. A good training car. Got it. What else? Anything else that has kind of you've learned along this journey?
I've learned, you can only push yourself physically. I know, I've learned to not overdo it physically, because I did, I think 3 days straight of cars for this dealership. And it was actually my first dealership account. It was going great. And on day 3, I'd maybe slept an hour or two, and I'm pulling in. I left my key fob at the gate, and I'm pulling in this truck, which I don't normally drive, and I scraped it. I didn't realize the back wheel was a bit wider. So that, and the detailing, obviously, you got to be primed to perform.
Fully alert.
Anything when you're dragging. Yeah. So I learned not to overdo it with all-nighters in the shop.
Right. Got it. Yeah, that's another good thing, that the burnout, detailing is so physical and so demanding that you just can't, you got to almost restrict yourself.
Yeah. You're going to burn out.
Right on, man.
Sure.
I love it. Well, if, I really want this to be kind of the first in a maybe, series of follow-ups and stuff like that we do to kind of, track your journey and stuff like that. But if anyone else kind of wants to follow along and track your journey, how can they follow you? How can they see your shop and kind of see what you got going on?
Yeah. I try to keep pretty up-to-date posts on our Facebook page. We post a lot of our work, that and Instagram. Twitter isn't really too active, but Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
iDetailNC. Yeah, facebook.com/iDetailNC. And we're on Instagram, iDetailNC.
Awesome,
We're
man.
just growing one day at a time, one car at a time, trying to get better every day and keep that quality of standard as high as it can be.
Nice. Is there anything you want to add that we didn't talk about?
No, just I don't know. Anyone out there listening, contemplating the same thing, just keep listening to Jimbo and believe in yourself. It's crazy what can actually happen.
Yep.
For sure.
Love it. Nice. I look forward to continuing to see your journey. Should be fun.
Yeah. Great. I appreciate it, Jimbo.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. Head on over to autodetailingpodcast.com for full show notes and links of everything that we've talked about today. And don't forget to check out our resources page for a direct link to all the products talked about not only on today's episode, but that I use in my day-to-day detail business. They have direct links so you can purchase and get free shipping right from that page. That's autodetailingpodcast.com. We'll see you on the next episode.